So how about the Olympics? Are you enjoying the Olympics so far?
Nah.
No.
No.
Well, we were just talking about the fact that yes, the Olympics the opening ceremonies were a bit tacky. I did not care much for the NBC commentators talking over all the Olympics. Just let the show speak for itself.
Best part of the opening ceremonies?
Which was
Mr. Bean.
yes, that was
Hitting the keyboard. Ding,
that
ding,
was a
ding,
very
ding, ding,
I
ding,
like
ding.
that. They did the whole Chariots of Fire.
That was amusing, yeah.
Sequence and everything. The other part that bothered me a little bit,
Yes?
I didn't understand because I don't think I heard it in the commentary. But when they had the March of Nations and all the countries were walking in, you saw these girls carrying that little cauldron or that little thing, right?
Yes.
They didn't ever explain what that was until they said, "Oh, it was part of the cauldron." Because I kept wondering that the whole time, like,
What is
okay,
that?
the one girl's got the sign of the country up, the other girl got the flag bearer. What's that thing?
Twins!
We won't tell you. But the cauldron I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
How it was they lit it all together. And I like the fact that they let the young Olympians come in with the torch rather than the
What about the young Olympians?
the the group of what was it, 6 or 7? They were young. They were like the young, next generation of Olympians.
Yeah,
of
the
Olympic
up
British
and coming
Olympic
kind of
athletes, and they
things.
had
Yeah.
sponsors. The sponsors was the older British athletes, and it's like, okay, so the torch was cool. The rest of the ceremony was kind of tacky. The James Bond thing was sort of, interesting.
Speaking of James Bond, this is the Untitled Movie Show blog podcast thing.
We're not doing any. No.
No? No?
No.
Okay.
Dark Knight.
This is a special episode that we're just doing Dark Knight, and then we're going to talk about trilogies and trilogies in general. And we have to pause so I can get my opening titles in there. So pause. Okay, and we are back. Now this is a special episode of No Title. We're just doing with no news. I'll go around for a quick introduction. I'm Nick.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Mr. Z.
Okay, good one.
I did
Mark.
the Z.
And this is not officially episode 4. We're not doing any news. No news this week. No bad movie plug at the end of this thing. We're just gonna don't do that. Don't put the thing up your nose. We're just talking about The Dark Knight Rises because now we've all seen
Get that
Dark
thing
Knight.
out of there.
You don't know where that thing's been.
Don't
we've
put
all
it there
seen
either.
We've all seen Dark Knight
And
Rises
for all
now.
of you who haven't, screw it. There are going to be major spoilers on here,
Yes.
so don't listen to this show.
Major spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to know what happens, do not listen to this web show.
All the answers are in Batman
And
and
if
Robin
you really
with
hate
George
the
Clooney.
Avengers, please keep listening.
So, first opinion. What did you think of The Dark Knight Rises, Mr. Z?
I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I told you guys earlier, I liked it as it was probably my second favorite Batman. Not to say that Batman Begins was bad, because Batman Begins was an excellent film.
Okay.
I just felt that. What's going on here?
He's doing the excellent Mr. Burns thing. Excellent.
No, there was a lot of dialogue in the third movie as well as the first film.
There was a lot of dialogue.
I felt there was a little bit more action in the third film than there was in the first film. I did like the villain in the third film better than Ra's al Ghul. Not to say Ra's al Ghul was bad. It was excellent character. But
now let me ask you something. About the villain. Do you think that Bane lost some of his
Sex appeal?
No. You think Bane lost some of his allure when the twist is revealed? When it turns out that it's we said spoilers. We can talk about the end.
That he was a girl?
No, that it was her plan the whole time and not his.
I kind of like that because as a viewer, I didn't see that even coming. I didn't even think that was after, you know?
I did not see that twist coming either. But I think now that it's like, well, if this was Bane's whole plan, you think it's Bane's whole thing, it's like, no, it's not his plan, it's hers. it was he was. It's like, oh, well, Bane's just a hired gun then,
Yes,
just like he
he's
was throughout. They said in the beginning of the movie, like, oh, he's a mercenary, mercenary.
For
But in
hire,
the very
yeah.
beginning, it seems like, no, my plan is in motion and fire rises, brother. That little bit of Desmond there.
I have a brother.
Okay, so you thought it was the second best out of the trilogy.
In my opinion.
In your
I mean,
opinion.
everybody else, whatever.
This is an opinion. This is an opinion forum. We're gonna throw opinions out there left and right.
I mean, you could compare this Bane character to the Bane character in that other film we won't talk about.
Or, well, funny thing. Now here's the thing. Funny thing is, I just finished playing Batman: Arkham Asylum, and Bane's in that
Right.
as a more of a version that looks like the Bane that was in Batman and Robin,
Right.
with the venom tubes kind of feeding into his muscles and everything. But and almost like the Hulk, where it's like when he gets the venom in him, he hulks up to really supersize. And when venom's taken out of him, he's back down to like
Normal
human size.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know if I like that version of Bane a little bit better than I like the version of Bane in the movie in Dark Knight Rises.
Well, he was a little bit more sadistic in Dark Knight.
He was,
Rises.
but he wasn't. They didn't ever get to the whole Venom
No.
thing
They wanna
in
play
Dark
him
Knight Rises.
real.
It was like, no, the mask he's wearing is just giving him painkillers or so,
basically keeping him alive.
keeping him alive.
Right.
But it wasn't like, no, he's getting injected with steroids, a super steroid that's making him stronger. And that's
Right.
why he can beat up. That's why he can beat Batman. That's why he can be faster and stronger than Batman can, because he's getting super steroids. So anyway, was there anything that you found like you didn't like about Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah, the fact that he wasn't too careful bringing that bomb out of the city when he was flying out of out of the hole there.
Now you want to know something? You want to know something that's interesting? When I watched it the second time, I paid attention to. I tried to pay attention to that. The scientists they do say that the core will destabilize and become more and more like a bomb and explode. He doesn't say that the bomb is unstable if you bounce it around. So it's almost like, no, maybe you can bounce it around a few city blocks and not have it go off. But I agree with you. The first time I saw it, I was like, you sure you want to be dropping that? You sure you want to run that thing into a traffic light?
And spoiler alert, at the end, I think
Don't say it. No, we already said spoiler alert. Go ahead.
I agree with Eric in the fact that Alfred should have looked up, but you should have never saw who was sitting over there at
At the
chair-
table.
At the table.
Yes. And seeing it the second time around, I was like, I wish they'd ended it right there with Alfred sort of looking up and smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Don't break my Sharpie. I don't want ink all over the damn place. Here, break the pencil. Put the Sharpie down. All right, Eric, let's get to you. Since you're going to break the Sharpie, let's go ahead and...
I enjoyed the film, but I had problems with it. I would put it as the third film. I thought they went in order. I liked the film a lot, but I would like to see it a second time to see if it flows better. And
Well, I think the second time it did. The second time through, it did flow better. The first time through, I mean, it really did feel like a 2 hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah.
It really did feel like 2 hours and 47 minutes were going
Yeah.
by. Like,
And I would say my big chief complaint was the end with Joseph Gordon-Levitt when they reveal his true name as being Robin. That was nice, but I wish they had said that his name was Terry as a nod to Batman Beyond. That way, Bruce Wayne Batman could have retired and done his thing, and the next generation of this do-gooder could have taken over, and it would have been a continuation because Nolan swore he would never do a Robin in a Batman film. Now, they never worked together and fight or anything like that, but having it still in there, which is odd. I have to mention something I saw the other day. There was an interview with Christian Bale. This just in. that Christian
Michael
Bale...
Phelps won a gold medal.
No, he didn't.
He didn't?
Nope. But it was on MTV the other day. There was an interview with Christian Bale. And they mentioned that about Robin being in the end and everything like that. And when they asked Christian Bale, they said, well, what do you think about that? And he nods his head no and everything like that. He's like, well, he goes, well, they said there would never be. He goes, you got to talk to Chris Nolan about that. He goes, well, don't you like it? And he kind of shakes his head, and eventually he's like, no. He goes, but I'm not the director. So Christian Bale didn't even care for the idea. It was done nicely. It wasn't being mean towards the director, but even he was kind of like, yeah, that wasn't my call. I didn't see that coming, and I didn't like it, but that's what the director wanted to do. So I was happy to kind of see him kind of voice an opinion.
Speaking of Christian Bale, we probably should have mentioned this at the top of the show. We all extend our heartfelt condolences to the victims of the tragedy in Colorado. I was amazed and shocked when I woke up Friday morning to go see the movie with you guys, and then you turn on the news and it's like, holy shit, this happened, and it was really amazing of Christian Bale to do what he did when he went and visited the victims, and it was unannounced and
just did it himself.
Everything. And I hope this guy rots in hell for the rest of it. And I'm glad that they're going after the death penalty. I hope they go after the death penalty in this case, but the charges just came out the other day about how many different counts of
24.
100 and
Each
victim alive or dead. There's like counts.
There's 2 counts
for
every,
each one.
every
with the total amount of people, it's like 124
there you go.
things against him.
But in any case, going back to, but we're here to talk about the film, not about the tragedy and stuff, because I don't want to give that guy any more press than they already gave him. So anyway, no, we're not getting to that yet. Unfortunately, I have to say that this is the 3rd best Batman film. Guys, we got time. We got time. Don't worry.
I'm not worried.
No, but don't rush along here.
I'm not.
Did you see the other thing that kind of came out online about the misspelling in the Gotham Times?
No.
When Bruce Wayne is looking through the search about Selena Kyle, they say cat burglar. You see headlines that says cat burglar. They misspelled heist.
Oh yeah.
It's highest. And it's like, whoops, someone misspelled. It was a photo that came out online. It's like, did anyone else notice that they misspelled heist on the Gotham Times?
Well, that's the worst thing going for the movie. I think they did a pretty good job.
No, it's not. Unfortunately, I don't think it's the worst thing going for the movie. I think the second time through, I really did see a lot of different flubs and different problems with the film, especially structure, story-wise. Especially when it comes to the 3rd act, when he puts Gotham under siege. After he blows up the football stadium, the fact that
he doesn't just blow up the football stadium. He blows up the
he blows up the field. He blows up the bridges, the underground.
Yeah.
And well, let me just go down my list of problems here.
Oh dear God! I thought you liked the film more.
I do like the film, but
now you got 50 more complaints.
Well, it all gets wrapped up into one thing.
I love the Avengers.
I think this movie had too many leaps of logic, where you had to just go with it in order to continue the story. Because one thing we talked about even afterwards we saw the movie, right off the bat, the fact that, okay, Bane breaks his back, and then they dump him into the pit. The one guy just kind of gives him the shot to the back, and it's okay.
Relocates his disc, yes.
Wouldn't you need a little bit more rehab
His
time?
back really wasn't broken, but
that was Bane's whole thing, was that he breaks Batman's back.
But he didn't.
Right. I mean, the comic book is one thing, and this is Chris Nolan's take on his movie.
Still, okay.
He paralyzed him, and it was hard for him to move, and the guy fixed his back. It was painful, and it took him like a month and a half to get back in shape.
Well,
yes,
technically, technically, though, one of the things we talked about afterwards was that you didn't get the sense of how much time passed.
Yes.
And
like Rocky IV.
Well, that's the thing. Bane says it'll take 5 months for this core to go from stable to meltdown bomb mode. So technically, Bruce Wayne was in that prison for 5 months, and all this stuff was going on in Gotham for 5. I would now assume for 5 months, because as soon as he gets back to Gotham, it's like we got 24 hours.
Right, 4.5 months have passed
before this bomb explodes. So it's like this is the last day before this bomb goes off. But I think when it comes to also leaps in logic, one other thing I thought that was kind of like, really, was the stock exchange problem. After Bane overtly robs the stock exchange, takes the guy's ID card, puts it in, and they make the transactions. Lucius Fox kind of says afterwards, "Well, hey Bruce, you made all these transactions, and in the long term, we may be able to prove fraud." My thing is like, wait a second, how is it in the long term you can prove fraud? Like, can't you? I mean, isn't it all over the news that Bane basically broke into the stock exchange? They didn't do it covertly; they did it overtly. It was like, how can you not prove fraud, or how would it be like a question mark of We don't know if you made these transactions or not. I'm pretty sure you didn't. But we have to say it for the sake of the film that
Right.
you're broke now. One other thing was, towards the end. Going back to the third act. See, for me, I think it's the third act where everything just kind of craps out on me. I'm sorry. In the 5 months that they're there, one, why does Bane let the cops stay alive? I mean, you get the sense that the resistance was feeding him, were giving them food and water, but they did come out pretty clean shaven and.
Well, they
Well,
apparently,
so the
yeah,
resistance,
they
it
apparently
was-
gave him money for laundry, and they had washing machines down there.
Yeah,
Apparently,
'cause
Bane's baddies gave them the food. And
Well, why were
they
they
allowed the government.
and they were able to take showers
Well,
down there.
Well, why were they then why was Bane keeping the cops alive? If the cops
Because
were
they were
going to die
he-
anyway.
They were going to destroy the city. They were going to reduce Gotham. It wasn't about killing thousands of people. They could have done that any other time.
Well, Bane was going to let the bomb go off. He was going to kill. He was
So
going to kill
nuke 'em
millions
all.
of people
In
anyway.
a
so
flash,
why
all
keep
at
them
once.
alive?
Well,
Let them
gives 'em
die
ho-
down there.
gives them hope.
Well, that's the other thing. In the 5 months that the cops are down there,
Mhm.
they couldn't figure out any other way to get out of that
I know.
sewer.
They all seem to go on one entrance too.
Well, they did all seem to go in one entrance, but it was like we
They
can't.
didn't do a good job of implying other elements. They could have tried to escape or dig their
Well,
way
you
out.
figure
or-
underneath Gotham is a maze of tunnels, and it's like if the Resistance can get them food, they can't get them like sledgehammers or something to break through a wall to maybe get to the subway, to get out the subway way or
Yeah.
the subway way.
Well, they were
or so-
pretty well guarded by Bane's
Henchmen.
accomplishment. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
again, at least imply that they're trying to escape. It did seem like they were just sitting down there eating food and shaving because when they
They were
came out
living
of
a
that,
life for the last 5 months, man. They didn't
they
do
came
anything.
they came out. They were like, "Hey, we're fine. We're clean. We're shit."
Did
nice
you
and
see any tanks bounce in that movie?
No, I didn't see any tanks bouncing in the movie. But the other thing I thought that, was a pretty big leap in logic, was, or at least that was missing. I don't think Chris Nolan did a good enough job showing the people and how the people would react to this situation,
A terrorist takeover.
especially after 5 months of this going on. You never saw anyone trying to escape the island. You never saw the cops.
Literally one or two people, and that wasn't really. It didn't convey the idea that there were millions of people trapped, and certain people would go, "Screw this! I want to get off the island."
Right. You would. I mean, you would assume that some people would. You would hope to assume that some people would try to make a raft and
Or
just kind
something,
of swim for
something
it,
crossing the ice.
or cross. The ice is another thing because the ice. As someone pointed out online, and I agree with this. How long of a cold snap would you need to freeze that river from coast to coast, or from
I don't know.
end to end? Look at foot. I'm just.
Takes place in Chicago. It gets very cold there. They would have thick ice on water.
That's not the skyline they show because most of the skyline shots is New York City.
They've been talking about how generally that when these movies took place, if it were to exist in America, it would be Chicago.
I agree to that. Yes, and I've heard that and I agree to that. But
It's
I'm saying,
cold. They put ice there. What's your next point?
what do you mean? What's my next point? I'm talking here.
You've been talking an awful lot on this show.
You didn't have any. Oh wait. Okay, so wait a second. So you didn't have any. You don't have any complaints at all about the Dark Knight. Rises.
Sure, I did.
Well, why don't you say some more? I'm just going down
'Cause
what I have.
Because I said you talk too much, and then you're like, "Shut up! I'm talking."
But when it comes to the but when it comes to the people, you didn't see any people trying to escape.
All right.
You didn't see any people just trying to say screw it. You didn't see any people go up to the bridge that was left intact.
Right, and have the military kick them back, where it's like you can't.
Can't cross over. If you cross over this bridge, if you come any closer, we're going to shoot you.
Right.
The only people that tried that in the whole 5 months was Joseph Gordon-Levitt or
On the
Officer
bus.
Blake on the bus.
Yeah.
Which that was the other thing that kind of bugged me. You didn't.
Did you
Well,
like any of
here's
this
the
movie?
other how do you know that didn't happen? I mean,
They
maybe
just
he
didn't
didn't touch
show
on
it.
it, right?
They didn't show it. That's the problem. And in Dark Knight, again, I think a lot of my problems stem from the fact that I watched the Dark Knight right before I watched Dark Knight Rising. In Dark Knight, in the Dark Knight, when Joker calls into the TV station and says, "You know what? I don't want this accountant spoiling all the fun. I don't want him, telling
Yeah.
everyone who Batman is. That's my gig. If this guy isn't dead within 1 hour, I'm gonna blow up a hospital." As soon as he calls in that, Gordon panics and says, "Okay, you guys go search the hospitals, and then you three come with me. We're gonna go get Coleman Reese out." When they get to the TV station, what's there? There's a crowd. There's a mob of people there trying to get
Reacting
into the
to
TV
that
station
threat.
react to that threat, trying to get in. And one guy even takes a shot. Remember,
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
"It's like, oh shit, there he is. There's the guy I got to kill." Bam, he shoots at him. That's what you would assume. That's what would really happen in that situation. One other thing that got to me, especially with the end, was like you said. There's no people trying to escape. They don't show people trying to escape, and you would figure
Millions of people would have
there's
different
millions of people
ideas.
in the city. None of them are trying to get out. They're all nice and content sitting in their home, which led me to another point: the fact that the city, towards the end, after 5 months of being under siege, looked awfully clean.
There was no piles of garbage around.
No
Things
burn-
just to give it a ragged look, where it's like,
There were
the system's breaking down.
the system would be breaking down, but there would be, there was no garbage would be piling up, burning. There would be burning cars. There would be gangs running around. Bane let all the prisoners out of jail.
But now you're really nitpicking the film.
That's not a nitpick.
Yeah, but this is all stuff that has nothing to do with the plot of the film at this point.
What do you mean?
It's visual.
Garbage on the street was like it had to do with the plot of the film.
Because if you're going to put a city under siege for 5 months, you would have a total breakdown of everything, of every part of society. You would have people living on the street. You would have people burning cars for warmth. Okay, you would have no sanitation collection. Okay, the city would just crumble. How come when Bruce Wayne gets back to Gotham City, everything looks fine? How come there weren't skyscrapers on fire? Because if there's a fire going on in a building, Bane had no problem letting criminals out. These criminals are arsonists, rapists, thieves, all sorts of bad guys. He's letting out of prison. You would have massive gangs running around, people shooting up each other. It should have looked more like a zombie apocalypse city, almost like in Resident Evil or something like that, where it's like this place went to hell in 5 months. I don't think it would look so clean or organized or nice outside in Gotham City after 5 months of under siege. Just look, and that to me goes against what Nolan has always approached his films as. No, this is what would realistically happen in this situation, especially what was shown in Dark Knight, where this is a realistic approach to it. If Joker made a threat, you would have against the mob would react. People lose their minds and go crazy. Bane put this city under siege, and it didn't seem like...
Police Academy 6, City Under Siege.
Excellent movie.
Well,
yeah, I know. No, you make a valid point.
The city just looked too nice and too clean, and there weren't any people reacting to... Besides the people in the football stadium...
Right.
After you see the people in the football stadium, like, all in shock of, like, what Bane just did, they all just kind of disappear. And it's like, yeah, we'll just kind of live our lives, and no one even follows the bus out of town. After Officer Blake says, go knock on everyone's door for the 2 blocks and tell them we're leaving. After Batman tells them, hey, we're leading I want you to lead an exodus out of town. When they get up to that bridge, there's no one. Not even people walking, following
Well, if
that
anything,
bus.
that's more realistic. How you going to get to how many thousands of people with little kids on the street that are homeless?
Well,
who's going to believe that?
Well, you figure that...
Who's going to believe a kid when
know.
It's not an adult coming to you saying, all right, we have a plan, we're getting out of here?
Well...
Hey, complete stranger, who are you? Oh, you're going to follow me, we're getting off the island. All right.
Well, we do live in America. I think...
No, we don't.
We do live in
Anyway,
America.
what else did you hate about the movie?
Well, that's really my main...
Okay.
Up until the third act, when Bane puts the city under siege, that's where, for me, the movie loses its star and falls down the ranks. Because action-wise, it was good. I like the beginning and the setup of him being a recluse. I thought the not having any cartilage in his knees was kind of out of left field. And
I thought visually the film was outstanding.
It was the Prometheus of the Batman films.
No,
it wasn't.
I have to say I disagree with that because of one, a lot of the visual city shots looked like New York City. Well, if this is supposed to be Chicago, then why are you showing me New York? Because I can tell what New York looks like with the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building.
It's a created, just made up city.
Well, that's the other thing. Now here's another point. My mom caught this while she was watching the film at Heinz Field, where they filmed the
Pittsburgh
Gotham. She saw a sign up there that said UPMC. That's the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. Now, Chris Nolan, again, make sure that he seems to like to change everything. The cars are all painted GCP or GCD or whatever. They couldn't go into computer graphics and just kind of erase that.
They just missed it.
And I want to know how many people who watched the film actually look for that one little sign.
If my mom caught it on the first viewing, then that's one person.
I
That's
mean,
all.
I do that. I'll notice things with a movie. I didn't pick up on that, but I
But
mean,
the
that
average
you can do
viewer
that
is
with
not gonna
any
notice that.
movie. Isn't it in Lord of the Rings? Isn't there a scene with a car in the background in a field when they were shooting
Is there?
in the distance?
Ben Hur, there's a
Supposedly,
bus driving in the background during a chariot race.
it happens.
Well,
If you're going to notice the smallest little thing, we can do it with every single movie. We could do it with Gone with the Wind. We could do it with Star Wars. We would do it with Titanic.
I know films.
But you got to get up to a
I
certain
know
point.
I know films are allowed. I know films are allowed to have flubs, and trust me, Dark Knight Rises did have its flubs, and I'm sure people will
Bouncing tank.
No bouncing tanks. Although you
I
didn't,
mean,
although you didn't necessarily like that, the fact that it seemed like Selena, the Batpod had such powerful guns on the front that it took out the tumblers when one shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I did that, the bike was amazing.
Yes.
Oh my God.
The
Oh, the bike
spinning
is
sideways.
The bike is cool when it spins sideways.
Yeah.
Now, see, shouldn't you hate that? Because realistically, a motorcycle cannot do that.
Well, this isn't a motorcycle; it's a Batpod.
Right. The Batpod can't do that.
I do-
That's a computer-generated effect, and that's not real. So shouldn't that be on your list?
I guess it should. I guess I'll put it
I
on my
mean,
list. Now.
you have an awful lot of negatives about this film. For
I don't know
still
what you
liking
like
it.
about it. You really came up with a lot of bad stuff. I didn't think the movie was perfect, but I mean, I don't know. You really kind
The
of
second time through, I just noticed more things
Okay,
that seemed to be absent, and this is why I would say that it's not as good as,
as
Dark.
the Avengers.
No, I don't think that
The
this
Hunger
movie was
Games.
as good. I didn't even see Hunger Games.
You should.
No, I don't want to.
How about Twilight?
Why,
Ooh.
why does Batman need Robin's help when Batman can just do everything?
Yeah.
There was no Robin in this film until the very end when
Batman runs away.
when it's like, oh, you should use your full name.
I don't want to fight anymore. I'm going to France.
And how did the movie end, Nick?
What?
Da, da, da.
It is a.
That's how they killed Bane.
I still found it pretty amazing that the Batpod was intact after it survived the nuclear blast. But that's or not the Batpod, the Batwing, which is cool. I love the Batwing.
But
What? I don't have any complaints about that. It just except the fact that it survived.
there you go.
It's like
I know it dropped a nuclear bomb over the ocean and still flew away without getting damaged.
it's nuclear proof. I mean,
Yes.
Maybe it is. Who knows?
okay, all right. Well, we'll let that go. But yeah, it had a couple flubs with the.
I didn't agree that the water was not blue. I mean, not having blue water in the river was ridiculous.
What are you talking about? Blue water in the river?
Oh, now you're just being ridiculous.
Well, there were a couple of
There
times.
weren't enough clouds in the sky. That
Well,
was
no,
not
There were
unrealistic.
stratocumulus clouds,
Yes.
but not nimbocumulus.
Hey, I think that one star is not supposed to be right there. It's supposed to be over there because of stellar drift or the time of the year.
That's right.
The moon, oh my God, the moon went from full moon to no moon in one day.
And
No, they're
how
actually-
did the bat signal repair itself on the top of the police station?
I want to know how Commissioner Gordon is keeping his job.
Yes.
That was one thing Eric
Yes,
brought up.
that's
the fact
right.
that if he confessed to,
Lying to the public about who killed Harvey Dent and who Harvey Dent killed and keeping the law in effect for keeping thousands of criminals in jail illegally, how come he still gets to keep his job as commissioner at the end?
yeah, that.
When it's reported by the villain in the film of what he did.
Well, I guess the argument could be made that the villain made it, is making it up.
They
But still, it's like there would be an investigation into.
No, not here, not in Gotham.
Oh no, that's
Not
right.
New York, Chicago, Gotham.
New York, Chicago,
No,
Pittsburgh.
Gotham.
Pitt, York, Gago, Gotham.
Pick your goggle off them.
But there actually were some time of day flubs because
It was like an Ed Wood movie.
no, seriously, there was one thing where it seemed like it was daytime. When Bane robs the stock exchange, it seems like it's daytime. When they're chasing the Batpod and Batman down, it's nighttime. I was like, when did it become night out?
Maybe it was at dusk when they first started.
That could be. But
They
trading,
didn't show it, so it
but
doesn't
trading,
count.
but stock market exchange trading ends at what 4:00 in the afternoon. So
How do you know where it ends in Gotham?
it would? I'm assuming it would. End at 4:00.
Don't start
In Gotham, they have different trading rules.
Yes.
See, someone else I read pointed that out on one of the polls. No, again, but it comes back to the third act. That if you were to shut the stock exchange down for 5 months, which Bane technically does, wouldn't you have like a worldwide?
In Gotham.
If
He
Gotham
didn't
is
shut New York down. He didn't shut Japan down. They're still trading all over the planet, except for in Gotham City.
If
It's not
Gotham-
ruining the World Stock Exchange.
You don't think so?
That's one city.
But Gotham's supposed to be the big city, the big city. You shut down the stock exchange.
Where'd you read that?
Is that
I'm
that
just
under,
I
interjecting
thought
my own
Isn't that-
opinion.
in that
Isn't
world,
it-
I thought Metropolis was the big city.
in the DC universe? That's what I believe too. But other people have told me no, that's not true. That
Okay,
Gotham
anyway.
and Metropolis are the same city.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
I don't. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't believe that. Gotham is Chicago. Gotham should be Chicago, and
And
Metropolis
Metropolis is
should
New
be
York.
City.
Right.
That's what I understood too. But I've read other people saying no, that's wrong.
Well, don't believe them. They're lying.
Whatever. The internet's full of bullshit, especially this stuff. In any case,
But you should believe our opinions
yes.
when you see this or hear it on the internet.
Our opinions are the only ones that are valid.
So say Nick.
Nah.
Yeah, before Nick.
And remember, please take our advice. Believe everything you read on the internet.
Yes. Believe everything. Absolutely everything. No one ever lies on the internet.
Just like that commercial. Where'd you read that? Oh, on the internet.
Yep.
Hello, I'm a French photographer.
So, I know I'm complaining a lot, but
What else did you hate about it?
I think I'm going to stop because if I go on,
But you got a list there of things
The
you
lines in
haven't
the
said.
road were not faded. They
They
look
look
too
too
new.
Bane would have repainted the lines on the road so people would have car accidents. Like Seinfeld, wide lanes. Woo!
No, look, look, a lot of my complaints all come with the third
The
act.
third act,
with
yes.
the city being under siege for 5 months.
Okay.
I just don't think that it would look as clean, as good, as
Right, as it
orderly as it did.
did. Okay.
And the only other complaint I have is how come there weren't any Navy SEALs trying to take out those trucks?
Did Gotham? I'm not answering this question to you. I'm gonna ask this to you.
Okay.
Did Gotham not looking too clean to you affect the plot of the story?
I noticed it. I wish it looked a little dirtier.
But did it affect the story?
No.
No. No.
I think because there are other issues that I didn't like in the movie, that it was just like, if that were the only thing, I would say,
Right.
yeah, then that would it would bug me a little more. But there were other elements of the plot that I found a little more annoying than a trashy-looking Gotham.
Like the cops walking headfirst into the into the other mob, where it's like, hey, we have guns and stuff, but we're gonna
Look at all
walk.
those villains with machine guns. Run towards them.
They've got tanks and machine guns and everything. Let's run right at them and let's not hope we don't get shot.
Yeah.
Strength in numbers, man.
But well, see, that's one of the things I did pick up on better the second time than I did the first time. Was I understood that part of what Batman and Bruce Wayne has to go through is he has to lose everything in order to beat Bane. It's like he has to lose his money, he has to lose his
Right,
toys.
he destroyed them
It
and
was
knocked
like
them down.
Rocky 5 when he fought Tommy Gunn.
He lost everything, but he got respect, just like Rodney Dangerfield.
Are we honestly comparing this Dark Knight Rises to Rocky
5
5?
and Easy Money with Rodney Dangerfield.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that a good comparison?
Yes.
Okay. Does that make the movie better or worse?
Better for it.
Okay. But now the
Hey, Eric Murphy from Entourage was the bully in Rocky 5.
was he really?
Yes, I
Okay.
told you that a week or two ago.
But playing into that, I did like that a lot. I did like that theme a lot better of Batman having to
Lose everything.
lose
to
everything.
Kind of
And when he's climbing out, the whole idea of like, no, you need the fear to help push you to
push you beyond.
beyond the edge.
He needs that eye of the tiger. He's missing that look. He used to have that look. Ding, ding.
And then Clubber Lang beat him.
That's right. Drink drugs and eat your milk. And go to school.
Okay, so now that we've talked about The Dark Knight Rises, I want to another thing about the special episodes. We're going to talk about movie trilogies and some of our favorite movie trilogies. And I built a board over here. We have